What would you say are the most prominent acting techniques today?
The most prominent techniques are the techniques we usually teach to every first semester actor. It's Uta Hagen, Stella Adler, Meisner, and method, Lee Strasburg. Those are the basic, I would say, American techniques. And we do in every first semester class, even the master's program, it's an overview of all of those techniques, because we really, as a school, we promote for acting. We encourage students to figure out their own technique, find your own process. And if you have tools, and some of the tools for these techniques are very similar, but if you understand them and can try different techniques, then you can choose what works for you. I studied method acting for 14 years. I studied some Meisner as well with Sandy Meisner. I studied with Lee Strasburg. I was very fortunate to study with these great masters. But I probably am a stronger method actress, whereas Meisner is, a lot of people go, Meisner is it, that's it. And I do think they all work together. And at the end of the day, I believe that technique is to help you when something isn't working. But eventually, the technique is part of you. It's something that you have at your fingertips. And you're not, if you're thinking about technique, it's like a great tennis player. If they're thinking about how to hold that handle, they're going to have a hard time at Wimbledon. So, you know, it's to help you learn what your skill set is, how to use those tools. And at some point, I think the tools become just part of you.
You've described your teaching style as, quote, keep it simple. Why this style of instruction?
I think actors complicate things too much because our brains can only really think of one thing at a time. So the bottom line to me is, how do you make it believable? Because if your acting isn't believable, we are taken out of the film or the show because we don't believe you as part of the story. The best acting, we don't notice the best acting. So we notice the story, and that's what good acting should be. But a lot of actors complicate it with, you know, all their, which is great in the learning process, with all their tactics and their objectives and their, emotional recall, and they're trying so hard to create a moment rather than just being in the moment. So, which is kind of like a Meisner idea, I think, is being in the moment. So, you know, some actors need all that, I think, but at the end of the day, you want to make it simple so that it's you reacting to the other person in a very real way. And techniques help you get there, certainly. I always say, try to focus on two things. Try to focus on your objective and your inner monologue. So the inner monologue is something we all have going all the time. Our little inner voice, whether it's critical, whether it's talking about the other person, talking about ourselves, but that inner voice is really what's going on with the character. So as you create that inner voice, you become in the moment, you become yourself, it becomes real. That's one area I always want students to focus on. The other is, what do you want from the other person? Because every scene in life, I said, go take yourself out of a conversation for the moment and really look at what it's about. Every conversation, you want something from the other person, whether you want them to like you want them to agree with you. Right now, you're shaking your head yes, so I want you to agree with me. So I said, if that's all you work on in the scene, you have a good scene. If you're watching yourself act, it's wrong. You're not the audience, you're the actor. So in real life, we always focus on the other person, whether we're aware of it or not. It's always the other person. So I said, in acting, when you focus on the other person, are they going to give you what you want? It creates a nice real moment without making your brain crazy.
And is that when you hear a note from someone that says that actor gives you nothing, is it because they're not focusing on the other person? They're focusing more internally?
Probably they're watching themselves, or they're being careful, or they're trying to act. I was a manager for 20-something years, and I feel I was successful because I coached all my clients. I would coach them for one line. I would coach them for a table read. And it was always, I'd say 90% of the time, it was about analyzing the text. Why is this person doing this? What are they feeling? What are they thinking for them to say and do this? And once you analyze that, you know what the internal life is of the character. But often my note would say, don't act. Just don't act. And somehow that's magical, to give them permission not to perform. You know, most actors are, afraid most of the time that they're bad. They live in fear that they're not good enough. So you want to take that away from them by saying, what you're doing is great, let's try this. That's kind of how I work with my directors as well. It's how do you help actors? They want to trust you as a director, and they want you to let them know they're doing okay. And I said to one of them, they said, well, what do I do when an actor overacts? I said, just tell them don't act. Give them permission just to have a conversation. And sometimes that brings it back to reality. I'd rather see this much real than this much phony. We all would. And so, and some actors have a greater ability to use their emotions. And that's usually practice, training.
So you find that most people overact rather than new actors maybe who are, let's say, underwhelming. They don't want to be loud or boisterous?
Yes, some of them underact, some overact.
Okay.
So I always say, do more than you think, because it's easier for a director to say, let's do less, than a director to go, can we do more? Can we do more? Because they don't know how much more you have. So, and that doesn't mean overact it. It means take big choices, make big choices, bold choices, emotional choices. Every scene, I said, is life or death. Every scene you have to make sure that the only reason that scene is in the film is because it's an important moment in that character's life with their overall super objective, what they want in their life, as well as what they want in that scene. It's important to reveal character, and it's important to move the story forward for the character. So you have to consider that even if it's just, hi, how are you? What's going on today? Nothing, I gotta go now. There's something that's important in that moment. Otherwise, we wouldn't use that precious time in that 2-hour film to show those characters interacting. So I always say everything is out of 1 to 10, it's an 11. The stakes are always high, that you get what you want, that there's something going on with that.
Is there a cheat code to master technique faster? Can you hack your way? Is there, acting hacks 101?
No. There's no easy way. And this is what I've always felt is important for students, that everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own progressive level. Some people get to it sooner than others, and it doesn't mean that you're a better actor. It just means the other person is working on finding what they need and taking a longer time with it. But I once had an agent send me an actor to work with, and the actor said, well, I go in for auditions, good-looking guy, go in for auditions, but the feedback is I'm too green. What does green mean? And I laughed with my daughter. I said, he's too green to know that what green means. Green means you don't have experience. You can't get it unless you just get it. You can't overnight get experience. And so much of acting is you walk in the room. Most casting directors, I would guess, the minute you walk in the room, they know whether you're confident as an actor. You bring it with you. You bring that. That's one reason I don't like self-tapes, because you can't bring your own energy, charisma, personality into the room with you, which is a large part of, are you right for this role? But I do. I think that some actors just have a natural instinct for it. There are wonderful actors who've never trained. Don't ask me to name them, but they just naturally have an instinct. And others, I just feel that, like I said, when you have little kids, they're great actors. You know, they're great. They play Superman, they play, you know, the dog, they play all of these parts with 110% of their heart. But then we become careful. So some of it is, some people are braver than others, some people just bigger personalities, some people have more confidence as human beings. So I think all of that plays into it. It's like singing. You know, there aren't many Barbra Streisands. She, I'm sure, trained, but she has this natural gift. And I think that's the same for any artist. Some people have more natural ability. I've had, as a manager, I had some very, very talented clients, probably more talented than some of the people I had working, but they couldn't handle the rejection. So they gave up. So it's, you know, you have acting as a craft, but you also have acting as a business. And the business of acting is tough. My friend, dear friend, Cindy Williams, who was Laverne, she was Shirley, she said, you have to put on a rhinoceros skin when you go out there, and then when you act, you have to take it off. You have to be your vulnerable self, and I think that's very true.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.